U.S. has much looser regulations around what ingredients are allowed in the U.S. food supply relative to other comparable developed countries like Europe, the UK, Australia, Canada, Japan. And in those countries, they have a guilty until proven innocent approach to new chemicals and new ingredients, where they basically are of the view that they want these ingredients before they put them into their human bodies of their citizens. They want to make sure these are safe. And so in Europe, they call this the precautionary principle, and they will test for up to 10 years a new chemical or ingredient that a company develops. They'll test it for up to 10 years before they allow it in the food supply to make sure that it's safe. The U.S. is the exact opposite and completely backwards, where the U.S. takes an innocent until proven guilty approach, which is called generally recognized as safe, or GRAS, where you don't even need the FDA's approval. You could hire, if Brett wanted to create his own new toxic chemical and shove it into a protein bar, he could hire his own, I'm not making this up, this is real. He could hire his own independent experts who submit a file declaring that this is safe, put it in the food product, and then our FDA in the U.S. waits until it's proven harmful before they decide to remove it. And there are plenty of examples of things that this happened with food and drug over time, where we went like 10, 15, 20 years later, like, oh, wait, that causes cancer? Oh, shit, we got to pull it out. And the most recent example was trans fats. So what I said on my panel was all of these other countries, and I cited Europe specifically, we have 10,000 ingredients here that are allowed in our food supply. They have 400. That's the difference. And we have this approach and this view here that it's helpful for innovation, which is why we, this is because we're so focused on capitalism here, and we're so focused on creating things that make money for other people, that the argument is that the way Europeans do it and the way that all these other developed countries do it, it stifles innovation and it's over-regulation, and we're much more free. But I believe, and obviously the data is clear, the stat that I cited in the panel is that Europe has significantly less obesity than we do. They have significantly better mental health than we do. They have 5 to 7 years longer longevity than we do for all of their people. They're much happier than we are. And they spend anywhere between a third and a half on healthcare per person. So on every metric that we care about, they're doing better than we are. And they spend way less money than we do. And so my point to the Senate was, they already showed it. Like, we don't have to debate this, guys. Like, they already have a list of banned chemicals. These are countries that we respect. These are countries that we trust enough to have nuclear weapons. So we obviously respect them enough. If we're willing to let France have nuclear weapons, we obviously don't think they're dumb. And so my point and Vonnie's point was, you have foods like, and we used the example of Fruit Loops, which was like kind of a big visual, where we showed the Fruit Loops from Canada and we showed the Fruit Loops from the U.S. The Fruit Loops in the U.S. has 4 different artificial food dyes that are derived from petroleum, that in Europe they require cigarette-like warning labels that say on the front of a package, if you use these food dyes, it says these ingredients may cause behavioral disorders, autoimmune issues, and learning issues in children. And nobody obviously wants to have cigarette warning labels on kids' food. So all of these big food companies